Last season, the Lions brought in Zach Ertz, Bruce Irvin, some older players to their practice squad late in the season. Could they be doing that again? Let's talk about it. Hi, Mike Payton with A to Z Sports Detroit. And today we're going to talk about four veteran players that the Lions could bring to their practice squad right before the playoffs to help out, maybe even get a chance to play in the Super Bowl. Here's four guys that we've been thinking about. First up, let's start with Takk McKinley, former first-round pick, spent most of the season with the New York Jets. This is a guy that has the ability to bring pressure, is a decent run-stopping edge rusher as well. Hasn't really panned out to be that number one, top pick like he was for the Atlanta Falcons years ago, but is still a guy that could be a really solid part of the Lions rotation. Get him in Detroit for a couple weeks, bring him up out of the practice squad for the playoffs, see what he can do. I think that he could be a really good rotational piece that can also just help bring pressure, which is what the Lions need to do right now. Getting sacks is huge, but if they can't do that, they need to be able to bring pressure. This is a guy that can absolutely continue to help them do that. The other guy is Patrick Peterson, a guy that, Lions fans have been mostly wanting this guy in Detroit for a very, very long time. Obviously, he is not the player that he once was. He is not an all-pro. He's not a Pro Bowler anymore. But he's still a good help. He was decent for the Steelers last year. He hasn't been on a team this year. He's been open to coming back to the Steelers. There was some talk in October about potentially going back to the Vikings. He's open to play, wants to play for a Super Bowl contender, much like Bruce Irvin was last year. That's a guy that, took a lot of time off and then all of a sudden is back in the league. And here's an opportunity for him to maybe win a Super Bowl. This one's a long shot. This one's a super long shot because we don't know if the Lions would even be interested in having a guy like that on the team, or if Patrick would want to play for Detroit. But we do know that the Lions only have one cornerback on their entire practice squad right now, and they could use some extra guys considering they just lost Khalil Dorsey. Carlton Davis is out. It's not to say that Patrick would come in and start, or Patrick would come in and really even play all that much. But if he could help out, he's a good veteran leader. He's somebody that you'd want to have in your locker room. It's a long shot for both sides, but you never know. You got to throw his name in there. Then there's Hassan Ridgeway, defensive lineman, middle defensive tackle type guy, good run stopper. You're not going to get a whole lot of pass rush out of him, but this is a guy that is going to help you continue with that run stop. He's a rotational guy. I like Chris Smith. I know the Lions like Chris Smith a lot, but I feel like this would be an upgrade over him and somebody that they could elevate if they need to. It's just somebody good to have, in the background if you need him. Ridgeway should be on an NFL roster right now, but he tore his Achilles in November of the 2023 season and hasn't found a new team to play with ever since. He should be healthy, should be ready to go by now. If he is, the Lions could potentially be a team that he could land with, and I think that's a good fit. The other one, the fourth one, the final guy, is a guy that actually just came out of retirement at just 30, 45 minutes before I sat down to make this video. We're talking about Shaq Barrett. Barrett signed with the Miami Dolphins this offseason and then decided he wanted to retire to spend more time with his family. And now here we are in late December. The Miami Dolphins are going to release him from his contract, from his reserve retirement list contract. He can now be a free agent, wants to be a free agent, wants to play if he clears waivers, that is. And this is the easiest waiver clearing situation that could ever be, because if any team claims him, they can't play him because he's coming off the reserve retired list. He would just stay on that list. He'd just be on a new team. So he needs to be a free agent. So all teams are going to let him go. They're not going to they're not going to claim him. And once he becomes a free agent, the Lions are a great spot for him to be. They could sign him either to the practice squad or they can bring him right to the 53-man roster, spend a couple weeks getting him back in football shape. And I think this is somebody that could definitely play a great rotational role for the Lions on their defensive line, help get pressure, help get home. this is a good player that is, if he had not been retired, if he had not decided to retire, he'd be a part of the Dolphins rotation right now. He would definitely be there. It's not like this is a guy that was going to be available at this point in time no matter what. This is a good player. So we'll see what the Lions decide to do, if they decide to bring in any extra people. They do have 2 spots open on their 53-man roster right now, and they have 2 spots open on their practice squad as well. So players are coming. We just don't know who those players are going to be. But here's 4 guys that, hey, this could help. So let's see what happens, and we'll see you next time.